All right, what's up, folks? I know a lot of you, much like myself, did not like what we saw on that TV today or on SWAC TV, not SWAC TV, HBCU Go. Very, absolutely, positively pitiful type of performance today. The comment section is open, by the way. So, that being said, be sure to leave a comment and also be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel because we would love to hear your feedback, quite honestly. We'll talk about everything from pretty much buyouts to head coaching possibilities for the future, as well as how the rest of the season possibly even looks too. So, as you know, again, comment section is open. We're gonna roll the intro and we'll talk about it. And we'll real quick again, yes, FAMU loses 42 to 14 at home, which is a number that should never happen. What's up, little baby 245? As well, too, a couple scores from around the country as follows as well before we roll this. So Notre Dame throttled Arkansas 56-14 in Fayetteville, Illinois. Pulled it out against USC 34-32. Alabama State, of course, as already stated, 42-14 over FAMU in Tallahassee. That's all three of those have gone final. And then, of course, Auburn currently trails by 3 to Texas A&M, 10-13 going into the fourth. LSU trails at Ole Miss 13-17 in the fourth. Tennessee up 3, 20-17 over Mississippi State in the fourth. And then, of course, you have Jackson State and Southern tonight, along with, of course, as well, you have Alabama, Georgia tonight, Oregon at Penn State in the whiteout tonight. And then, of course, the Big Sky after dark game, Idaho and Montana. So with that being said, don't go anywhere. Let's do it. All right. So, with that being said, first of all, let me go ahead and just pull this image up real quick, make this even better. So, actually, you know what? Let's see. Where's it at? Where's it at? Dang it. Oh, no. There we go. So, yeah, we'll just talk about the schedule. So, looking at this, boy, oh boy, can you find one on the slate? Actually, let me remove it and then bring it back real quick. That's better. Now we can see it even bigger. So, can you find another way? Hold on. First of all, what's up, JT? What's up? I'm going to be a great cheerleader, but if there isn't any change in QB play and defensive schemes, we'll lose. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, man. Ooh, it can get worse. It can, absolutely. And my thing is, I don't get how you swore this. I don't get it either. I do not get it either. And this is also true, Hitman. You are not winning next week if you run that kid out there again. I am sorry. I try to come on here and not really belittle or put down individuals because I get it. These are college kids. They're not pros. They're not making millions of dollars. So how I verbally put down pro players on Wednesday nights and then how I come out and I say things regarding college kids, two different things. But honestly, I'm going to tell you now, if that kid runs out for the remainder of this season, you are not going to win many games. You might be able to win homecoming. And as we look at the schedule, next week's in question. You're not winning October 11th. You should win homecoming because, again, motivation factor kicks in. You probably play a little bit above your ceiling. I think that's attainable. October 25th, I don't know. November 1st, hell no. November 8th, I think you can get that one. November 11th, I think you can get that one. November 22nd, by that point, I don't even know. Let's see. What do we got here? Let's see. My bad. I'm a big FAMU fan and call it this blowout offenses. Below average D is about it. Yeah, no, I agree. It's shout out to the one person who hit me up on Twitter and said that this game was going to be 42-14. I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, come on. I don't think it's going to be that bad. But by God, it was. Yeah, no, and that's facts. It's very, very true. I know it's very hard. I'm being generous in saying homecoming and the classic because those are the two that are absolute must wins at this point. Atlanta's even in question right now. I was trying to pull up a stat here for Valley. Oh, here we go. Sam Parker, 3-time Division II national champion, offensive coordinator for Mississippi Valley. That's who your defense is going to have to scheme against next week. A 3-time Division II national champion who knows a thing or two about offense. And Terrell Buckley is going to come into that game motivated to beat Colsey. Why? They both played defense, not at the same time, but they both played at Florida State. Colsey's also stated, oh, yeah, I looked up to Terrell Buckley. He was one of the guys that, when I was getting recruited that I wanted and I aspired to be like. Yeah, Terrell Buckley's heavily motivated for that game, especially now seeing what happened today. Oh, yes. I like how Jet didn't get in during garbage time. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I am happy. I'm happy he sat. I am happy he sat because the contingency of people that swore up and down because they're like, oh, well, RJ's fine. RJ's a great quarterback. And again, I hate to put down kids, but they were like, oh, he's fine. At this point, you know what? For that crowd, go nominate him for the Heisman at this point. Go nominate him. Because next week, I don't see how you put him out there. Jet has to start. He has to. If he doesn't, this team's going to be – Alex Wood went 1-10. You're staring at 1-11. You are staring at 1-11 right now if you do not fix it. Let's see where we're at. I'm going to say this. I'm going to support RJ being QB. But I saw it late in the fourth. RJ's a running back. He's not a QB. That's facts. That is facts. Like he did more damage with his legs than he did with his arm today, in my opinion. I thought it was absolutely lethargic the whole day. I would have felt better about this if Jet had get in. That is the only way because, man, there is no way. And it's on him too. It's on him too. And don't worry. We'll get into those numbers as well. We'll get into those numbers. Yeah, that's facts. It's me speaking. And I understand that too. You want to be optimistic because you want to see the team win, and I do too. We all do. We want to see this team win. We want to see this team be successful. We do. But at some point too, again, I'm going to show up and cheer. But at the same time too, you got to call a spade a spade. This is atrocious. They can score. They can. They put up 41 today. So something's going to have to change between September 27th and November 22nd. Something's going to have to change. Oh, wait, here we go. Here's now RJ's a second. Swag. And I think I still have that stat too. Let me see if I have that actually. Because He was actually third. He wasn't second, but he came into today with the number 677 passing yards, 761 passing yards for Andrew Body, 719 for Cornelius Brown the fourth. So your top two passers in this conference are from the state of Alabama. After today, I don't know if that changed much. I'm sure they both are still. But yeah, no, that being third in the conference and passing, yeah, that was fool's gold, man. Absolutely fool's gold. Oh, whoops. Did not mean to blow it up that big. Let's see. I get it, but it's program. It is. It honestly is, because I don't get why. And, the crazy thing was he said in the interview leading up to today, he said both guys had good bye weeks. And he ran them out there in practice. He truthfully did not have a good practice from what I found out. And you saw what you saw today. You practice how you play. I still think we would have lost, but I thought it would have been more of a game too. Again, I figured 35-24. Ace even thought, 38-20. I thought it would have been much more of a game. But my gosh, I didn't think the defense would get gashed like that. There have been no adjustments made from the Orange Blossom Classic to now defensively, and it makes you worry and wonder, are we going to see any adjustments made from September 27th to November 22nd? Saw Virginia Tech. Oh, Virginia. This was Virginia, not Virginia Tech, but I get what you mean. I saw Virginia pull 5-man front on FSU, make Costello throw 4 bad balls last night, and we didn't even put pressure on Body. Yeah, horrible. They didn't even try to. There were no successful blitzes, but I mean, like, inconsistency on defense. And quite honestly, I wonder whose bright idea was it to wear green on probably one of the hottest games of the season. Like, I don't get why you would do that. You should have wore orange today too. That's part of it. And the thing was, they looked so gassed. Alabama State looked so. They had guys dropping. They had guys going out, leaving the game early, and they didn't even really open up the playbook much. They played it real simple the whole game, did whatever they wanted to do, drove it down the field opening drive, did everything they needed. It would hurt if Jet didn't show what he can do. We witnessed it. It wouldn't hurt. Yeah, no, I agree. It wouldn't. Let's see. Oh, so it dropped. I saw it was. Oh, well, okay. You know what? Never mind. My bad. It was 18.7 according to ESPN. And then now against takeaway Florida Atlantic. Yeah, that is pretty bad. That is. Take away Florida Atlantic, take away Albany State. You factor in you've only played, as far as FCS opponents go, you played Howard. You only scored 9 points there. You played Alabama State today. That's what? 14 points. So yeah, that's spot on. 11.5. Let's see. Whoa, comment section is jumping. Okay, well, here we go. Honestly, threw more yards than Body. That doesn't mean anything. 14 points on it. And that goes back to the point. You cannot defend this kid anymore. For the people that said, oh, he's all right, he's fine, you can't defend it anymore. I actually want to go see these numbers real quick. Hold on. Let's see. So, oh, wow, they pulled the numbers down. Darn. That stinks. Crap. Well, let's see. Hopefully the numbers go back up soon. Dang. They pulled down the numbers. Come on, man. Guess ESPN knew how bad he was, too. He always says that. Yeah, he always says certain things. Let's see. But I didn't have to do anything. Yeah, no, he didn't. I think I saw him leave the pocket and run up the middle one time. They ran the ball well. We didn't. No, I'm going to come out and say it. They are and again, that's a testament to so many 3 and outs. It is because this offense doesn't sustain drives. This offense was like 0 for 4 on 4th down today, which means, yeah, you were also 0 for 4 on 3rd down, or you couldn't complete a pass over 10 yards. And the one time they did was in garbage time. RJ Johnson threw one ball over 10 yards today successfully. The one dump off into the flat to Miles Campbell early in the game, that was not even 10 yards. That was more like probably 5. He just covered the rest of the ground and got a first. It's going to be very interesting. They're going to eat him alive. They're going to eat him alive. There is, like, I don't even know how else to put it. They're going to eat him alive. Whoops. Happened again. Yeah, hey, that's all you can do. Yeah, can't win with the front four, especially if they're not getting any pressure. Can't. I get it. You want to get home with 4, but at some point, man, not even a push. They were having success with it early, though, too. The color's white. Yes, exactly. This was the one game where it was okay to wear white. You could look at the camera and tell it was hot out there. Second quarter, Thad Franklin's jersey was drenched. His pants were drenched in sweat. They looked worn out. And also, I usually don't bring up opposing fans' comments, but you know what, Crawford Avenue, thank you so much. You exposed something today that I've been saying and a lot of other people have been saying that some people didn't want to admit to. You exposed the quarterback position. Thank you so much. I don't know if you're still watching, but thank you. You exposed it, and now the whole entire country saw it. It's inconsistent. It's bad. And he can't start next week. So thank you so much. Congrats. It took you guys, 5 years since we came in and finally won 2. So maybe next year, if we wipe the slate clean, we can get some payback in Montgomery. So who knows? Yeah, we didn't. We did. I don't think we really know how to, quite honestly. I really don't. I've been so embarrassed as a former athlete. I'm not sure. And you know what? I'm glad you said that because someone mentioned and talked about a buyout, honestly, as far as his future goes. So I did some calculating and did some math. He's on a 3-year, $720,000 deal at the moment. As far as his contract goes, it's a 3-year deal. And basically saying next year he would be owed $240,000. Is it possible somebody or a group of alums or boosters can fork over $240,000? And if you do, who's behind door number 2, 3, and 4? Who do you go get to replace him? And do you have enough to pay said head coach that you bring in to replace him? But yeah, physically beaten into submission, horrible. Now, again, I know Jawan Sider might be out of the pay grade. Randy Shannon may be out there too. I don't think that he would be interested. I've heard he's not. I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe there's someone out there in the D2 ranks that you can bring in that's ready to come up to the FCS level. Because quite honestly, we've seen a lot of success lately with guys coming up from the D2 level. You've seen Tremaine Jackson. You've seen Chanis Berry. Guys coming up from that D2 level having success now. So you're going to have your options. And again, it's not like the FAMU job is not attractive. No state income tax in Florida, capital city, historic program, loyal fan base. If you win, they will love you. If you lose, as you see today, they will hang you. It's good and bad. So, we'll see. Empty stats. Very much so. At one point, I actually saw he was 11 of 18 for 80 yards, and it was like the fourth quarter. So that kind of tells you everything you need to know. Let's see. You can't open the playbook. He can't complete passes longer than 5 yards in garbage time. That's facts. That's one reason why you can't open the playbook. I have it on good authority. The Burgess wants Jet and is handcuffed. And I fully believe that too. I think he does. Because again, I granted it was a D2 team, but when you saw Jet go in that game, again, that sideline came to life, man. It came to life. You saw guys happy. The defense was thrilled that they finally saw a 90-yard drive that got them added rest and kept them off the field. And it ended in a touchdown run. He didn't throw a touchdown pass, but today, you saw it. I would bet. And that was, and what's crazy is that was actually the worst home loss for FAMU since 2018 when Buddy Pugh came into Tallahassee and beat FAMU 44-21. That was the worst. Southern Hell. I thought something would have been taken from that too, but it absolutely wasn't. I don't know what happened. And the thing is you didn't turn the ball over like Southern did. They had 5. They died through turnovers, giving Alabama State momentum, added life, another chance. We were 0 for 4. We were damn near there pretty much. 0 for 4 on 4th down. Couldn't get anything. Couldn't throw anything beyond 5 yards. We did it to ourselves. Exactly. They gave him all day to throw. Imagine if Jet had been back there. Because I thought they would have pulled him when it was 14-6 or even 14. I'm sure it was 14-0 at one point. Yeah, when it was 14-0, I thought they would have pulled him and put Jet in. But you know what? I'm glad they gave him a full game. Let him expose himself. Home team's camera. Is that really NCAA rule now? Because I remember Florida State wore white once against USF back in 2009. But again, they lost too. But I mean, maybe it is a rule. Who knows? The NCAA is forever coming up with crazy rules nowadays. Need some serious player evaluation. Interest. This game. Yeah, no, it's a gut check, look in the mirror time because it was bad. Let's see. Yeah, and honestly, I think, granted, the criticism of him is since he's been at Albany State, he's only won 6 games, but quite honestly, he deserves an interview. When that process gets underway, he's earned an interview. You can't tell him no. You got to listen to it. Let's see. And you can't. Ball's thrown too high. Ball's thrown out of their vicinity. The one dumb play was seeing Goldie Lawrence basically, punch somebody in the face right in front of the sideline judge. Like, why? And then basically drawing an unsportsmanlike penalty. Let me see. I stopped watching. Start to think. Hey, that's not a bad idea, honestly. Midway through, I was like, you know what? Let me DoorDash myself something. But then I was like, you know what? I'm choosing to come and do this, and I'm like, I wouldn't get to the door in time, so I'll probably do it after and get comfortable and watch Alabama and Georgia go at it. Let's see, not turning the ball over. It's still a bad offense. Yeah, exactly. Like you would think when you don't turn the football over, you win the football game. That's usually what happens. But when you play too scared to turn the ball over and you can't generate anything and you're afraid to throw it 5-10 yards downfield because you're scared to turn it over because you're playing that safe, you are a detriment to your own team. But again, he had a great bye week. Some people think he should be up for the Heisman, and I wouldn't be mortgaging my future on this kid. I wouldn't. Redshirt him, let him learn. Beyond 2026 is where I think he could flourish at this point with some proper, just holding the clipboard on the sideline and watching and learning. That's where I think he should have been. But no, we want to try the youth movement. I don't know if it's I'm just going to call it the elephant in the room. I don't know if it's the fact that Jet Petty's a white quarterback. I don't know if that's what people look at and say, oh, well, you know what? That's not what a FAMU quarterback should be. Who cares, quite honestly? If the kid can play, he chose to be here, and he's consistent, you need to put him in. Ryan Stanley didn't win a Florida Classic, but my God, if you had Ryan Stanley at quarterback, you would have won today. Ben Doherty has the Florida Classic record. Guess what? Both white quarterbacks. Ben Doherty didn't win a Florida Classic, but by God. I begin to wonder. Yeah, and I agree. I begin to wonder. I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not what it is. Because quite honestly, exactly. And but again, that was Willie Simmons' team. That was Willie Simmons having the final say and being the loudest voice in the room. Quite honestly, I wonder who has the loudest voice in the room right now. I don't know if it's Colsey. I don't know if that's Ray Matthews. I don't know if that's Henry Burris. I really don't know at this point. Because I've had this discussion, and we've said it indirectly between me and Ace on the Running Gun podcast on Wednesday nights. And we try not to point out the elephant in the room, but my bad. I missed some comments. Here we go. I'm sorry. Here we go. Let's not forget. We had a top 10 FCS recruiting class. There's so many avenues that need to be addressed. There are. Again, that's coaching and proper development. Because some of these guys, they're dogs. I like Jason Riles. He's stood out. I like Justice Cross. I feel like he's been a good player. Thad Franklin, good player. Kennard Wilcher, good player. We got some good players on this roster. And it's irritating. So if this is the second senior laden team that Colsey screwed up. Again, $240 million, not million. Geez, let me stop. $240 million buyout for 2026. That's what he's owed next year. I doubt that. About Petty, but I believe Ryan Smith didn't get the job because of that. I do think Ryan Smith didn't get the job because of that. I agree. I thought that, honestly, I wouldn't have been shocked if he'd have been the first white head coach in FAMU's history. I think we see why RJ didn't get any snaps at Toledo. Nothing to do with with an entrenched starter. Jet and RJ must be in versions of one another. One practices bad and one balls out in games. Yeah, I look at it and I'm just like, at this point, Jet must just not be a good practice player, but he delivers. Because honestly, when you look at it in the games, he's getting the ball out quick. He's getting the guys. He's getting this offense lined up. He is pedal to the metal. He moves with a sense of urgency. And you could just look in his eyes and tell, like, he's trying to get somewhere. He's trying to tell his offensive line how to line up. He's letting them know, who's the mic, who's coming on a blitz, who's showing blitz, things like that. And yes, too conservative, which now says I think Colsey wants RJ because he wants to use his legs more. You honestly, and that's going to be a detriment. That's going to be his downfall, because in this era of college football, yes, running the football matters, but you have to be able to throw it. You have to. And if you can't throw it 10 yards, you are in trouble. That's a player. Risk. I agree. Actually, you know what? I do want to play this snippet by John McKay. I'm going to go ahead and play it now so I can go ahead and recap this game and how things went today. So let's see. Where's it at? Oh, there we go.
blocking well. So we made up for it by not tackling.
Yep, didn't block well, made up for it by not tackling well. Story of the day. So, by the way, remember when Colsey said in that Monday presser, we have to hold them to field goals as opposed to TDs? I listen to that and I say, why not just hold them to no points at all? Said we have to play really well to keep this game close. Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know. He also stated, and I mentioned this pregame, in these types of games, it's about turnovers, TDs, and not settling for field goals and finishing in the fourth quarter at a high level. Again, why do you keep reverting back to the past? You're reverting back to the past. I get it. We had beaten them 4 times in a row, but that's the past. You need to do what you need to do today. I'm wondering too. I know usually fifth quarter usually has the presser. He's usually in the presser room talking to him, and then he posts it. I know them and ONG usually have it. I'm curious to hear what was said in that presser. Let's see, where are we at? So, oh dang, that's not it. So basically, looking at it, and I just wanted to see what the total yards were at the half. I was hoping to have them for the whole game, but ESPN doesn't have them posted for some reason. I don't know why. So at the half, FAMU was already down in total yards, 117 total yards to Alabama State's 185. 7 first downs in that first half, 9 first downs in the first. 9 first downs in that first half for Alabama State. 27 passing yards in the first half for FAMU. 50 pass yards for Alabama State in that first half. 90 rushing yards for FAMU in the first half. 135 rushing yards in the first half for Alabama State. 2 penalties for 20 yards for FAMU. 3 penalties for 20 yards for Alabama State. 1 forced fumble for FAMU. So, again, and no interceptions on the day. Andrew Body came away clean today, as did RJ Johnson. But we know one took what the defense gave him. The other one took what the defense gave him, but only for 5 yards. FAMU was 4 of 6 in the first half for on third downs, and Alabama State was 5 of 7. And FAMU was pretty much 0 for 4 on fourth downs today. And the lone TD pass was, the lone TD pass was to Miles Campbell in garbage time, and then the 2-point conversion was good. And then, of course, Alabama State went back down and scored again. As been said before, this offense was – it was. I had been – okay, Hitman, I got you. I see your comment. This is very true. It was designed for Jet. Jet showed us what this offense was supposed to be. And I was telling Bishop this on Tuesday night last week that, Jet gets the ball out quicker. You can count in your head how many, when you watch him behind center, how quickly Jet has that ball out. I've counted at the quickest, probably 1 second. 1 to 3 seconds is how quick he has it out, and it's to a wide open guy in space, sitting in a gap in that defense. And then said guy falls forward for a couple yards. And that's also true. This is also true too. He got on campus before Jet did, and he walked into an offense that he had to learn. He was behind the 8 ball learning. And at this point, look, it's week 5. You should be caught up. Even if he knows half the playbook, I would still put him in. With that 50%, I trust Jet at 50% knowing this offense more than I do RJ at 100% knowing this offense. I full-fledged do. And I would guarantee you I am not the only one that feels that way. I would I would probably bet good money that there are other people inside Gallimore Powell Fieldhouse that feel the same exact way. Funny enough, it was at the half. It was, if I can remember correctly, I know FAMU had 3 minutes in the time of possession, and then Alabama State had about 7 or 9 minutes in time of possession because they ate up a lot of clock. They dominated time of possession. I think about third quarter, it's about like 34-31 as far as time of possession in favor of Alabama State, if I remember correctly. But again, that was around like the third quarter, early fourth, I want to say. That was what the time of possession was. And I agree, there's no way it was designed for RJ. It's not. I think that they brought him in and probably taught it to him and were hoping that he would catch on to it. But I think I think part of it is they've been generous to him and saying, like, look, you've been here longer, so we're going to start you. But at some point, you got to pull him. And I agree, he's not owning it. And yes, we are a pocket passing team. We are. And this kid putting his shoulder down, running, getting yards, that's fine and all. But again, that doesn't mean anything if you're not as well balancing that with passes. Because right now we look like 70-30 running the ball. That's what we favor. And again, giving the ball to Thad Franklin, he can't find success if you're not consistent passing the ball. Because you got to make defenses respect the pass. And if they don't respect the pass, I'm just going to load the box. Howard did it. Florida Atlantic did it. Albany State did it. Alabama State, they did it too. And you were very successful. Remember Bishop say. They didn't. And that goes even as far back as the Orange Blossom Classic, even to now. I agree. I fully agree. It's no more playing nice. Playing nice is going to cost him his job. I agree. I agree. It was probably loud inside that stadium today. It's probably loud, I'm sure. People were probably hot, frustrated, irritated. Some people probably drove 4 hours, 5 hours. Some people probably drove all the way from Atlanta to go watch that piss poor product. And the thing I love that, Troy from Fat Mouth Sports said how much of it is being coached and how much of it's being allowed. And I was like, that's a great question. And this debate can be had. I'm 50-50 on this because, again, he had more success running the ball than he did passing it. And I agree. You're very right, Kev. He should. That's the only way. Because I'm going to tell you again, if you run RJ out next week in Atlanta, and not to mention the majority of the alumni, the fan base is in Atlanta. So there's going to be a lot of FAMU folk there, regardless of what the outcome was today. There's going to be a lot of, and it's Founders Weekend. There's going to be a lot of people in Atlanta to see that game. There's going to be a lot of people, and just you wait. And if they underperform, that calling for his head is going to get really, really loud. I'm not surprised. Honestly, because look, he was given the keys to a really nice car. He was told not to crash it. He was told not to get a speeding ticket. And in a matter of 5 weeks, he's got a couple fender benders and he's got a couple speeding tickets. And look, that return on interest, somebody $240K, somebody can find that. But then the boosters and the alumni can find that. Because if it continues to get worse, somebody's going to pay it. Because somebody, if it gets that far, somebody by the end of the Florida Classic will say, you know what, thank you for your services. It'll no longer be needed. Here's the rest of your buyout. Here's your $240,000. Let's go find somebody else. And we'll start our interview process with Quinn Gray. That's what's going to happen. Speaking of loading the box. Again, it goes back to the want to. And defense is tired because they're always on the field and they're getting gashed. And didn't see much creativity with blitz packages. Ding, ding, ding. That's facts. That is facts. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me check in on the Valley score right now because I actually do want to see. Because I know last I checked, they had scored 17 points. So I'm actually very much curious to see what's going on in that Mississippi Valley game. So let's see what's going on here real quick. So Valley is currently up 20-14, which is honestly more than we've put up in the majority of our games. So, yeah, we better come to play. You better come to play. So, all right. Let's go ahead and wrap this up here. So, with that being said, yeah, the one lone turnover was Nayron Jenkins forcing a turnover. Corey Collier, he recovered it, which was odd. I didn't see him in the game the rest of the way. And by that point, it was already 14-6. FAMU went for it on 4th and short after that, after getting that turnover coming out for the second half, turned it over on downs. I think FAMU may have punted twice today. Also, to Bama State's offensive possession after that resulted in a pass TD by Andrew Body. They went up 21-6, another 3-and-out by FAMU's offense. Alabama State drives down the field for another TD, 28-6. And then the punch by Goldie Lawrence leads to a personal foul call. Bama State again got the ball back, 35-6. And then RJ Johnson, TD pass to Miles Campbell, 2-point conversion. And then from there, Alabama State scored again. Again, their offensive coordinator was a 3-time, if I'm not mistaken, was it? Maybe I'm giving him more kudos than I should be. Hold on. Let me see. Not 3-time. Oh, yeah, no, my mistake. Yeah, he was a 3-time Division II national champion, Sam Parker. So he's going to come in with a bag of tricks, and he's probably going to look at this film today and think, oh, yeah, I can take advantage of whatever I want to and run and call whatever I want to, and this defense won't be able to stop it. And I have a chance to do it in front of NFL scouts in an NFL stadium. That's what he's going to think. And they currently trail 20-14 with 2:36 left to go in the third against Texas Southern. They will be very motivated watching today's film. Along with that Howard game, they will be very motivated. I would be. Again, there's storylines there. There are. Like I stated, a 3-time Division II national championship OC going up against this. Not to mention, again, both head coaches played at Florida State. One more nationally recognized than the other. Actually, yeah, one won the Jim Thorpe Award. That was Terrell Buckley. So, oh yeah, one's going to be more heavily motivated. Plus, he's from Mississippi, so he wants this bad for this program. He's trying to turn around a very bad program. And to do it in FAMU's backyard, boy, going down 2 conference games, you don't want to be there. Yeah, no, it all looks bad. Today was a flat-out F. They looked really bad. Yeah, Very nasty work. So, at this point, look, I've already said it. I don't think Billy Napier will be the only coach in Florida in the unemployment line come Thanksgiving. I really don't. I do think at this point, if someone finds 240,000, it's going to be 2 coaches out of a job here in the state of Florida. But nevertheless, as I wrap this up, I would say, and this is my optimistic self speaking now, continue to show up and support. I know this sucks. This absolutely does. There was a lot that was exposed, and for good reason. I'm glad it was. I hate that, they lost at home. It will be absolute must watch this week. I'm going to be tuned in 100% to see that. I can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to Wednesday, not only for the Run and Gun podcast, but for that as well. I'm looking forward to Tuesday night with Bishop. So make sure y'all are ready to go for that as well. That's going to be must watch as well. I'm curious to hear Bishop's thought about tonight. But yeah, I hope not. I'm going to be again. Before I wrap up, I'm going to go back and be optimistic here. Fix the quarterback position. I think you can win next week. The week after that, though, the next home game, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. They're coming in. They're big game hunters. They're playing, New Hampshire and all these other teams. They're scheduling swag teams because they want to make an example. Homecoming, I think you win that. The next 2 after that trip to Baton Rouge gets real interesting now. I don't know. November 1st, forget about it. November 8th, I think you can get that one. November 15th, it's gettable. It's gettable. You just can't look ahead a week. And then November 22nd, I'm not gonna rule that out as a loss, but I do think you can still win that too. I think it's winnable. So what's that? Let's see. So you're 1. So you're 1-3 now. Yeah, you're 1-3 now. I'm gonna be generous and say 2-3, 2-3, 2-4, 3-4, 3-5, 3-6, 4-6. I think you can finish 6-6. Quite honestly, I think 6-6 is doable if you get your head out of your ass. I think it's very winnable. Amen. That's facts. And and that's why I listed that, and that's where I get the 6-6 from, because I do think that I don't think they'll win in Baton Rouge. And 6-6 does not equal a good second year. That is a big time regression. That does not show improvement. That is not where you want to be. And I do think that's grounds for buyout and a new head coach. So with that being said, again, I'd say still, continue to support this team. If you're going to Atlanta this week or next weekend, by all means, show up and be loud and everything. Hopefully, there's a change at quarterback that's made, because God knows it needs to come now. I always say, if you were there for 1-10 under Alex Wood, you're immune to this. Look, I sat in the rain and watched Alex Wood lead this team to a 1-10 season at the Florida Classic. And then obviously I sat through Jameis Winston's 2019 season where he went 30 for 30. I'm immune at this point. Nothing hurts anymore to say. But, again, we'll be back next week, of course, doing this leading up to FAMU and Valley. Hopefully things get better. And be sure to tune in Tuesday night as well for, me and Bishop. Rattler Roundup podcast will be full go. And then honestly, I did too. The highlight of that time was he ran the old Miss Laramie Tunsil play on homecoming, I think, that one time, and that was it. I think that was like the highlight of his coaching career. Oh, you're gonna have a ball, man. You're gonna have a ball. I think he will. It wouldn't shock me if he was. I think that's who they target next. If they can get the money and get him, I think that's who they go get. Quite honestly, right now we need to figure out and start getting our short list together. Quite honestly, because I do think something's gonna happen there by the end of the season. I do think that's what's gonna happen. I think whether you win or lose the Florida Classic, I think there's changes coming in a big way, especially if 6-6 is attainable at this point. Well, like I think, but yeah, still continue to show. Hey, you know what? I wouldn't say no. I would not say no. That is, look, we'll have a tough team. I know that much. Get him and Coach Dawsey back together. I guarantee you the wide receiver room will be a lot better. Coach Dawsey, ooh, yeah, I would be all for that. And Coach Vic as a strength coach, I'd be for it. That would be pretty cool. I would not say no. And then probably even his son would probably come back as a quarterback coach or something to that degree, or maybe even Sean McGuire, like that whole staff he had at Texas A&M. The only thing I wouldn't go for if you went and got Jimbo is Charles Kelly. No, that's not our DC. No. Then again, that might work on this level. Who knows? But I digress. Again, continue to support this team. I know it sucks right now, but through all kinds of weather, just stay locked in. You're 1-3 with the right QB change. Maybe you can save it. But again, be sure to tune in Tuesday night, Rattler Roundup podcast. Me and Bishop. Be sure to tune in Wednesday night. Me, Ace, Mr. Sasser, Running Gun podcast, and then we'll be back here again Saturday. Countdown to kickoff for that Georgia football. Well, hell, it's not called that. Founders Day Classic, FAMU and Valley. So we'll be back discussing all of that as well. So thank you so much for joining us. This was a lively comment section. This was awesome tonight. Glad we were all able to vent a little bit. I'm glad. So with that being said, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And as always, remember, strike, strike, strike again. Stay safe, stay blessed if you're on the way back home from the game. Enjoy your NFL Sunday tomorrow as well, too. We will see you next Tuesday night.